Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shawn Brooks, back here in some more fire, and today we're gonna talk about why the GH5 is still my go-to camera in 2020. Let's talk about it. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back. If you're new to my channel, I am a filmmaker and a videographer based here in Chicago, my home city, 773, stand up, we out here. And the GH5 is my camera of choice. Now, there's three things that I really want to debunk with the GH5 that people always kind of give it gripes about, that I'm just like, bro, shut up, because if you actually use the camera, you would know what you're talking about. Number one, a lot of people always say that micro four thirds and full frame, it's like not even, it's not even enough for competition. You need a full frame camera. As I say in multiple videos, and I literally mean multiple videos, there will never be a situation where your client is gonna specifically say, hey, you need a full frame camera to do this job. Or if they watch your video on playback, like, man, this video is amazing. It just would have been better on full frame. You can't tell, because you know why? If you know what you're doing, you know how to create a shallow depth of field, it doesn't matter. I know how to light a subject, so that's why I have a soft light here, which is my key light. And I have two lights in the back that's creating even more of a separation from the background. You're still getting that nice blur. Like, again, I know what I'm doing. So when I hear YouTubers say that, it's more of a gimmicky thing. Like right now, prime example, every cell phone that's coming out right now has to have a wide angle lens. Realistically, you're gonna use that maybe about a couple of times depending on what type of photography you're doing. But your everyday person, they're not really popping up that wide angle lens like that. The main telephoto lens does just enough and you make it work. Just being real. And that's kind of the same route they're going with full frame versus everything else. Full frame right now is the new way for cameras to follow. You hear people consistently always say that, micro four thirds, this and that, and it's like, I get paid quite well off my GH5 for the content that I shoot. And again, you're seeing my content, I'm good at what I do. Check my work, brooksmedia.com. Now, number two, the GH5 is terrible with autofocus. No, wait, because I already know where that's gonna go. Now, the GH5 is not great in autofocus, but if you are using the Panasonic app, which I'm currently using on my cell phone right now, all I have to do is touch the box on my face and I got autofocus and I'm locked on. See, here's the thing. For talking head videos, you really, in my opinion, you don't even need autofocus anyway. Because the last thing you wanna do is have your camera set up somewhere, and any camera can do this. If it misses focus, you're not paying attention, you would just ruin the entire shot. Versus with me, I don't have to worry about that if I'm on manual focus or touch the focus. If I touch this box on my face, I'm good to go. And if I ever need to check or change the setting, the ISO, the aperture, the profile that I'm shooting in, if I need to zoom or need to change the actual focus manually, I could do all that from the app. Now, as far as the actual use of GH5 and autofocus, number one, I use the GH autofocus on every job that I do. There's really a rare situation where I do not use autofocus on my GH5. I use autofocus on my GH5 with 4K 60 for 95% of my B-roll. There's only a couple of times, and that's usually when I'm getting like really, really close, and I'm gonna make sure I nail focus, I will go to manual focus. Other than that, I'm able to get shots that I need because of the way that I shoot. I shoot knowing my camera's limitations. So the thing is, a lot of people sit there and say that the GH5's limitations is this and that, but like every single camera has a limitation. So prime example, something with the A7 III, the limitation with that is you have to shoot, knowing if you're shooting a talking head video, you have to shoot and trust the fact that you are always in focus. You can't see yourself when you're filming, or you can't do 4K 60, or you can't do 1080p at a very high bit rate, something like my GH5 can do. I can get up to 200 megabits per second on my GH5 shooting in 1080p, where something like on an A7 III only goes up, I think, to like around 28 to 50. So huge difference there. But again, if you know what you're doing, I would never look at somebody's footage and be like, man, if you'd have shot that 150 megabits bit rate, it would have looked a lot better. Again, most the weddings that I shoot, my partner has an A7 III and I have a GH5. His footage at 1080p 120, 1080p 60 still looks fabulous. The footage and the content that I create with my GH5 and the shots that I've captured still looks fabulous. Again, about knowing your camera. Now, the third thing I do want to touch on, because it drives me crazy, it really does, especially when it talks about the GH5, is low light. Now, again, there's a caveat to, as you can see, there's a caveat to each one of these things I'm saying, but there's not really, and I know cameras even told this now, like in 2020, like low light's gonna be like the new thing, I'm sure, I promise you, it doesn't fail. But right now, obviously there's no lights on in my house, but I'm controlling the lighting. It's pretty quote unquote dark in my house, but I know how to light a scene. In most situations, the most the highest ISO range you should be going over with a camera is maybe like around, I say around 12,000, maybe like around 8,000, 6,400, around that area. Why are you trying to shoot in pitch black? At what point in time as a professional do you actually bring lights with you? That's number one. Number two, I use DaVinci Resolve. I got rid of Premiere Pro, I'll make a video about that too. I got rid of Premiere Pro and I use DaVinci Resolve right now. And DaVinci Resolve has such a great, not only a coloring system, but a great noise reduction in there. I can shoot at ISO 3200 and 6400 on my GH5 and be cool, like I'm good. But in most situations, in a lot of situations, I'm shooting and bringing lights. Why would I shoot in a very dark room with no lights? Like I don't get that. You know what I mean? Like, obviously if I'm shooting outside, I'm gonna shoot somewhere where I know there is gonna be lights around. There's never been a situation where I was out with my GH5 where there was no lights around. There's never been a time I already had to push my GH5, honestly, that much to 6400. There's only been like emergency cases. But in most situations, 3200, ISO 3200, that's a clean bit rate for me that I can get past with no problem, clean up in DaVinci Resolve, and I'm good to go. So my point in making this video is to say this: the GH5 or Micro Four Thirds or whatever camera that you're using currently, make your camera work, learn your camera's limitation, and work around those limitations, because there's not a camera out there that's perfect in every single category. It just doesn't exist. Perfection is something that they bake into your head as marketers that you feel that you need to have that you would never obtain. Just a fact. It's your boy Shawn Brooks, man. I'm out. Thanks for watching.